What is up, y'all? Welcome back to Halo's Kitchen, the best kitchen out there, period. It's Chef A here. As you can see, I am making a plant-based breakfast. And right here, I am currently struggling with, cutting open this spaghetti squash. But for this, I'm going to be making some spaghetti squash hash browns because, I stopped eating the regular white potatoes. I still eat sweet potatoes from time to time, but I be missing my hash browns. So I saw this idea and I'm like, okay, let me try and make my own recipe. So that's what I did. So right here I'm just oiling it up with some olive oil. You can use grapeseed oil, whatever, avocado oil, whatever you want to use, and I'm seasoning it with some sea salt, some black pepper, and some Italian seasoning as well. And I'm going to bake this in the oven at 450 for about 35 to 40 minutes. It really depends on your oven, how powerful it is, but you really just want to keep an eye out for it, see when it's soft or whatever. You'll know when it's done. But for my oven, that's the time that it was done. And as you can see, I'm just placing it flat down. I'm using a cast iron skillet. And if you want to make the cleanup process easier, you could, line it up with some foil. But this is what it looks like when, it's all done baking. And I just decided to peel off the skin because I thought it would be easier. Usually I don't do it that way, but that's what I'm doing. And it should be like around that, consistency or whatever, stringy like that. That's when you know that it's done. And you just, of course, want to discard the skin. You can throw that away because you don't eat that part. And you want to do that to the other side as well. This made roughly about I would say about 6 hash browns, but it really depends on how big you size them and how thick you do them as well. And yes, as you can see, I'm shaping them up. I tried to shape them like the McDonald's hash browns, but that didn't really work out for real. So cooking them on high, in the cast iron skillets, and use a spatula. I just couldn't find a spatula at the moment, so I just used that spoon. And then you just want to cook it until it's like the desired, color or whatever, till it's like a golden brown or a little char on it, like you saw that piece. But you want to make sure it's like really pressed together to make sure it holds its shape. Like, it would be a lot easier if it wasn't a vegan recipe and you had like eggs or something to hold it together, but that's not the case with this one. So but it still held together for the most part, and it was still pretty tasty. And it's done at this point, and I just decided to add some avocado. I didn't feel like mashing up the avocado for real, but do that. That would make it a lot easier. And also sprinkle on some furikake because I just wanted to try something new, but it actually worked. Some furikake, and I also squeezed on some key lime juice as well, and it was good. 10 out of 10. And if it needs more salt, you can sprinkle a little bit more of that sea salt up on there, and also you can serve it with some ketchup as well. And next, I'm going to be making a veggie skillet. Now this one is my favorite of all the breakfast items that I decided to make. And by the way, I wouldn't necessarily recommend to eat all of these together in one. I was just putting together like a few different ideas that you may not have really thought of as far as a vegan breakfast, but you can if you want to. But right here, I'm cutting up a sweet potato. This is like a medium-sized potato, and I wanted to cube them. So as you can see, you'll see me cutting them smaller, even smaller than this shape right here, because I don't like how they was giving rectangle a little bit. I wanted to get them cubed as much as possible. But yes, and if you guys don't mind eating, regular potatoes, russet potatoes, yellow potatoes, whatever, you could substitute for that. It'll be just as tasty, but this recipe calls for some sweet potato. And also, the smaller you cut it up, the quicker it cooks. That's also another reason I decided to cut it into small cubes. And I'm also using some green bell pepper as well as red bell pepper. You just want to chop that up into almost cubes, the closest that you can get to being a cube. Get it to that shape. And I would recommend half a pepper each. That's just all of the red bell pepper that I had left. But you can use a little bit more than that, about half each. And these are medium size as well. And of course, make sure your stuff is properly cleansed and, you know, discard of the seeds. I know I got a few seeds right there, but I didn't add those in. And next I am using a large sweet onion, but I'm not going to use the whole onion. I'm using like about that amount right there. That's like a little bit less than half. And I'm just going to, you know, dice this up a little bit. I believe I did large dice. Yeah, large dice pretty much. And then you want to add the potatoes to a hot pan. Make sure this is like, you know, high heat, because this is gonna like cook pretty quickly. It'll help the potatoes cook quicker as well, especially if you're hungry and you're ready to eat. Yeah, cook it on high heat. Add in a few of the onions. I didn't add all of them in at this time. I just added in a few. And then add all those seasonings that you see listed as you continue to stir this in, again on high heat. After you let that sit for about like 5 minutes, I would say, then you can start to add in your bell peppers. Give that a stir. And then you can add in some bella mushrooms sliced. And then right there, I was just adding in the better than bouillon chicken, no chicken base. I listed it on the seasoning list, you know, on the other screen, but that's at the point where I like actually added it in. And right here, I'm just adding in more of that Italian seasoning, oregano and whatnot, and more of the chili powder, the seasonings that I had already listed. And, you know, of course, continue to stir that in. So all in all, I would say I cooked this for about 25 to 30 minutes, or just until the potatoes get tender, to be honest. And you know, the mushrooms have like shrunk down to about that size. Doesn't really take long to cook it all. And it'll cook even quicker if you decide to cover it up. Oh my gosh, y'all, and this one was like so good, 10 out of 10. I would definitely make this again, and that's why I'm recommending it to y'all. And I just garnished it with a little bit of parsley. As y'all can see, I love me some parsley because I'm extra. And you could, of course, eat it in the actual skillet. I know that's the point of a veggie skillet, but yeah, but I just served it on a plate with some tahini, like a drizzle of tahini. And I also decided to serve that with some fruit tea. This was my first time actually making a fruit tea, like with the actual fruit up in there. So I added in some orange slices with the skin on, some peaches. That's a white Mexican peach, I believe. That's what it's called. I added in some lychee, about 5 lychee things, and then I added in some key limes. And right here I'm getting, you know, my herbs ready inside of the tea strainer thing. I'm using some sour sop leaf. That one right there is blue vervain, mullein leaf I'm also using. And then hibiscus flowers. And I believe I also added in a little bit of burdock root. Yeah, I just didn't show that on camera. But yeah, y'all can look up all the different benefits with those. Like, definitely, I'm putting y'all on. Y'all need to, you know, get into them. Plenty of health benefits. And then the fruit makes it even better. All the benefits of the fruits. And then you just, of course, want to bring that to a boil. And I also added in some fresh ginger root as well. I only had a little amount. That's why the pieces are so little. But yes, y'all, this was a great tea, especially like getting your day started. And it's so tasty. And you can add in a little bit of some agave syrup or some date syrup if you want a little bit of extra sweetness. But the fruit should really do it, especially if it's ripe. So yeah, y'all, this was an amazing breakfast, I would say so myself, excuse me. And let me know if y'all decide to try any of these. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more content. Bye.